common way of execution set of plant data gaining to broaden the knowledge and understanding of hydrocarbons. The data recorded during well testing involve pressure and volumetric flow rate observed in a particular well that required the right technology, planning, and implementation in order to gather information. In the past 5 years, the routine used to horizontal drilling and multi-stage fracking has exploded in North America, accounting for 60% of well drilled in the United States and up to 80% of well in Canada. Horizontal well can be tested in natural vertical fractures, thin-layered reservoir, and producing reservoir with high deep angle. Several flow regimes can be potentially occur and need to be considered in analyzing test data from horizontal well. Wellbore storage effect can be much more significant and partially penetrate, and an effect commonly complicate interpretation. In vertical well, variables such as average permeability and vertical thickness and skin are used. Horizontal well need more details. Not only is vertical thickness important, but the horizontal dimension of the reservoir relative to the horizontal wellbore need to be known.
A challenging problem in the interpretation of pressure transient responses in most horizontal wells is the non-uniform distribution of skin along their length. Therefore, the knowledge of the skin distribution and the flow rate distribution into the horizontal well from the reservoir is crucial in interpreting the non-uniform skin distribution in horizontal well pressure transient models. This information is not readily available to the analysts, hence, standard pressure interpretation techniques and tools assume uniform distribution of skin with the expectation that the estimates would match with some of the average skin distribution. The lack of study in the physical meaning of the skin estimates from different pressure transient analysis tools in common use is essential to be addressed in order to obtain a clearer understanding. Due to the fact that this issue has not been given enough attention, skin estimates through purely geometrical interpretations are being considered in order to calculate horizontal well productivities and develop flow models. Through the use of conventional tools that assume uniform distribution of skin, synthetic pressure transient responses for different non-uniform skin distributions along a horizontal well can be generated, and the response can be analyzed by comparing with the known skin distributions. If the skin distribution is non-uniform, the pressure drop caused by skin depends on the flow regimes. However, the regression analysis can only match one of the flow periods for a constant skin value because models used in commercial software assume similar additional pressure drop due to skin. By applying the semi-log analysis techniques, the meaning of the skin estimate is able to be interpreted through the type of average the estimated skin describes for different flow regimes and skin distributions. For stimulation decisions, information such as the estimates of skin from early time radial flow analysis representing the arithmetic average of the skin distribution can be useful in most situations. Moreover, the additional pressure drop represented by the skin estimate from the pseudo-radial flow period corresponds to the skin pressure drop at the heel of the horizontal well, which can be utilized in productivity calculations. However, all the geometric interpretation of the non-uniform skin effect being suggested has been shown to be inaccurate and leads to significant errors in the calculation of horizontal well productivity. This is due to the fact that the flux distribution is non-uniform and is time-dependent in horizontal wells. Therefore, the skin effect is time-dependent until the flux distribution stabilizes at the start of the pseudo-radial flow. In addition, because the skin effect is not necessarily equal to the skin factor, the severity of the damage may not be inferred from the well test data.
First challenge in horizontal well is three-dimensional nature of flow geometry. Nowadays, horizontal wells have become a commonly technique used in the petroleum industry. Horizontal well can greatly improve well productivity because of its large reservoir contact area. Horizontal well also can handle problems with gas or water cooling. Horizontal wells have high advantages when drilled in thinner reservoir and tight reservoir with vertical fracture. But however, it consumes huge expense in order to do horizontal wells compared to vertical wells. Basically, in horizontal wells, it has different flow geometry, which is three-dimensional, while vertical wells have a flow of one dimension. Partial penetration and anisotropy of horizontal to vertical permeability can strongly influence the performance of horizontal wells, which yield in complex of modeling horizontal wells compared to vertical wells. Thus, the flow geometry can contribute to one of the challenges in horizontal wells. This is because radial flow symmetry that present in the vertical well will no longer exist, but instead some several flow regime will occur in horizontal well test. However, these flow regimes generally cannot be defined well based on the test data. Usually, there are many factors that can affect the transient pressure behavior in a horizontal well test, such as vertical permeability, effective well length, and many more. However, basically, we have very little information about these factors and have to be treated as unknowns in horizontal well test analysis. In fact, there are three types of flow geometry in horizontal well. The first one is vertical radial flow. This first radial flow regime happened in a radial flow in the vertical plane. On log-log derivative plot, the wellbore storage hump is followed by a first stabilization. During this radial flow regime, the permeability thickness product is defined with the average permeability in the vertical plane and the well effective length. Second flow is linear flow. This linear flow in horizontal well happens when the ceiling upper and lower limits are reached, and thus a linear flow behavior is established. The derivative follows a half-linear slope log-log straight line. The third flow is horizontal radial flow. This kind of flow regime converges from all reservoir directions toward the well, which will produce a horizontal radial flow regime. Moving on to the second challenge is wellbore storage effect. In a horizontal well, wellbore storage effects are much more significant and last longer compared to the vertical wells. The lead time radial flow and the following intermediate time linear flow are often masked in a horizontal wells testing, which means that wellbore storage effects are so considerable in horizontal wells. Moreover, horizontal wells also cannot store the information destroyed by wellbore storage by relying on the pressure response data after wellbore storage is disappeared. In order to remove the wellbore storage effect, the measured pressure and rate data need to be converted into constant rate pressure response of the reservoir by using the deconvolution technique. However, that technique has had limited applications because it suffers from instability problems which can cause large uncertainties in the convolution solution because of small errors in the data. Furthermore, they require simultaneous measurements of both pressure and downward flow rate, in which downward flow rate measurement is not usually available. Thus, without rate measurement, existing convolution technique in general not suitable for application.
One of the opportunities of performing a horizontal well test is that it can be tested on thin-layered reservoir. Thin-layered reservoir is usually drilled horizontally because of the thickness, and also we want to maximize our oil production. Therefore, a conventional well test or conventional well model is not applicable for this type of reservoir. The test to calculate skin permeability, storativity, transmissibility is different from the conventional well model. Furthermore, a horizontal well test is also applicable to a naturally fractured reservoir. A natural fractured reservoir is often drilled horizontally because we want to intercept the fractures and drain from them effectively. In order to perform a well test, a horizontal well test must be performed to investigate the pressure distribution, skin, and permeability effectively from this type of reservoir. A horizontal well test is also applicable for an old reservoir with inadequate draftness, a reservoir that no longer has support from either boundary or the system itself rarely can be produced. Performing an interference test horizontally is more effective than performing interference tests in a vertical well. Crucial information is needed to verify the feasibility of recovery options for this type of reservoir. A horizontal well test can also be applied to high deep angle producing reservoir. Moreover, carbonate reservoir with water coning can also be tested through horizontal well test. Initially, a water coning reservoir is drilled horizontally to minimize the water cuts. Therefore, in order to test the performance or productivity of the reservoir, horizontal well model is used to calculate important reservoir parameters.
Horizontal well testing can be difficult in terms of measurement and interpretation. In the field, horizontal well testing is harder to interpret compared to vertical well testing. However, during horizontal well testing, we can obtain certain data. For example, initial reservoir pressure, permeability, and effective permeability, skin, wellbore perforated length, distance of horizontal wellbore to the formation. Initially, the conventional technique designed for vertical well can be used to analyze in horizontal well testing. In vertical well, factors such as skin, average humidity, and net vertical thickness are utilized. Horizontal well require more detail. Not only the vertical thickness is essential, but the horizontal dimension of the reservoir relative to the horizontal well should be known as well. During the last decade, analytic solutions have been presented for the pressure behavior of horizontal wells. New flow regimes have been identified, and simple equation and flow
flow regime existence criteria have been presented for them. The flow regime presently utilized every now and again to estimate horizontal and vertical permeability of the reservoir pressure and wellbore skin. For horizontal well, where the early time transient data are the most sensitive to the vertical permeability and skin if the wellbore storage effect is minimized, it is critical to acquire flow profile and the effective well length, which is frequently less than the drill length for the interpretation of horizontal well test. The effective well length is essential for deciding damaged skin and the vertical permeability. For horizontal well in a single layer reservoir, we can provide simple equation for obtaining permeability and skins. There are usually several flow regimes with different time because of the partially penetrated nature of horizontal well and multiple boundary effects. For instance, we may observe 3 radial, which is a pseudo-radial flow regime for a horizontal well in a vertically bounded single layer reservoir. First flow regime, which is the first radial flow regime. The first flow pattern for horizontal well is elliptic cylindrical. This radial flow around the wellbore may continue until the effect of the nearest boundary is felt at the wellbore. It may not develop if the anisotropy ratio is large. The behavior of this regime is similar to the early time behavior of partially penetrated well. For second flow regime, which is the second radial flow regime, this is a hemicylindrical flow regime that follows the first radial flow. This flow regime may occur when the well is not centered with respect to the no-flow top and bottom boundaries. In some cases, only this flow regime may be observed without the first flow regime. The slope obtained from this flow regime is 2 times larger than that obtained from the first regime. The third regime, the intermediate radial flow regime. After the effect of the top and bottom boundaries are felt at the wellbore, a third radial flow pattern will develop. This regime does not exist for well with a gas cap or aquifer.
Conclusion: there are many opportunities and several challenges faced when well testing is done in horizontal well other than stated by me. Well testing gives huge data about reservoir, whether in vertical well or horizontal well, which is for now is difficult but yet more discovery to be found. New improvements have been made in the scope of well testing subject because it is diversified the reservoir information and fluid properties which easily obtained to extract well and gas. In this industry, it is subject to predict the behavior of the reservoir which lies down 100 feet below the sea level. However, ideal information with some interpretation helps the engineers to understand the concept in order to build a better technology that serves the nature and ecosystem appreciating the given environment.